Hey guys, welcome back to World of Tanks. My name is Bruce and today I want to show you how you can judge the right time to retreat in order to make more damage or even carry a game if your team is on the losing side. Let's go. In World of Tanks, you win about 50% of your games and you lose about 50% of your games. If your team is on the losing side and if the adversary team is pushing a flank, most often it is time to leave your favorite position and fall back into a more defensive position, out of which you can try to hold the enemy push. In this video, I want to showcase how you can judge when the time has come to retreat and show you that retreating sometimes is very beneficial in order to buy your team the necessary time to win the opposite flank or simply to hold the flank you are fighting on. So without further ado, let's jump into some gameplay. Alright, first game with the KPZ-50T, we are spawning on Paris, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Paris with the medium tank like the KPZ-50T, you have several options. You can go to the north, you can go here and yeah, simply try to win the northern portion of the map. However, this is a very static gameplay because this is an open field and the one who advances first usually loses this fight. Now, if I spawn in the east, I like to go to this position because here, if you knock down the tree, you can get crossfire to those tanks here and simply help your team to push the south, which is most of the time much more successful. So this is where I want to go. Now, if you take a look at the team composition, you notice that we are playing in a top tier situation. So this means that my firepower is superior compared to most of the other tanks, and I do not simply want to stand still or defensively in the northern portion of the map, but I want to bring my firepower to the game. And so I think in this kind of scenario, it is beneficial to go to the south and to help your team to win the heavy lane. Now, this topic, as I said, or this video is about retreating and retreating at the right time, and to how to discover the right time to retreat and to fall back and to set up a, or to man a better position out of which you can help your team to defend a flank if the adversary team is pushing. So far so good. So a standard start of the game. As you can see, none of our tanks has pushed aggressively to the K4, K5 position, which is fine. And we simply want to use our first spotting advantage in order to make some first damage. Now let's pause here real quick. The first indication that we can see on the minimap is that the US-16 is pushing in aggressively. So that's our first indication of something untypical going on and a thing that we need to monitor. So you should always try to lobster eye the minimap in any situation, so not to miss the chance when to retreat. So let's continue. Meanwhile, we are trying to get, take another shot onto those tanks. Here you go, nice. And here you go. So if you now take a look at the minimap, and let's pause here real quick. If you now take a look at the minimap, you can see the following going on. So this is the current situation. Not only is this tank pushing in aggressively and fighting against our heavy tank here in the middle, so chances are that this player is of the opinion that he can, that his team is in a beneficial situation in this portion of the map. So that's the reason why he is pushing aggressively. But the most important thing right now is this T30 is pushing in here. So this is an indication that those tanks are confident that they have the advantage on their side. And as soon as they will push into this position, they can go to this position and play hull down here, take out this tank. And as soon as they have taken out this tank, then we will be, or I will be in trouble if I stay in this position, because they can just peek around the corner and then simply fight against me. And my teammates are way too defensively in order to defend my position. So that is the reason why I need to retreat right now. So the adversary team is pushing aggressively, and that is basically the time where I need to retreat in order to set up a defensive location. So as you can see, we just picked the right time because the adversary team is pushing in aggressively, and now if we would be at the same position as before, we would be the most offensive tank, and that's not what we want to do. We do not want to be the tank which is playing against multiple adversary tanks at the same time. That's a situation that we want to avoid, and so that has just been the right time in order to retreat. And now it's all about map awareness and map knowledge, so we need to find a place where we can once again exploit the strength of our tank. And in this case, with the KPZ-50T, it is hull down gameplay. So we want to go here, and now we can use this little plateau here, use the stairs and drive upwards in order to set ourselves, bring ourselves into a strong position with our hull down capabilities. Now we need to fear the middle because we can take shots from the E3 position. So that's what we need to look out for, but besides that, we are in a very good shape in this position. And as you can see, we still have the chopper and the Project Iron in order to help us out, so that we are not the very first tank, you know, fighting in the first line against the adversary tanks. This is what I meant with the shot of the Cheeto SP. And so yeah, we have retreated in, and we have brought ourselves into a much more favorable situation after the push of the adversary tanks. So we'll simply try to stay here, and as long as our teammates are still alive, there's no need to further retreat. So let's see how it goes. And now out of this strong defensive position, we can hold the advance of the adversary team. Nice, another lovely shot onto the advancing CS-52 Liz. And let's see how it goes. And yeah, our team has meanwhile managed to win the north, which is great. And we have simultaneously managed to hold the push of the adversary team in the south. Now, very often in World of Tanks, you discover that one team is favorable on one side of the map, and then the same team does have a disadvantage on the other side of the map. So if you find yourself in a situation where your team has a disadvantage simply because the other team has more tanks, for example, then that's exactly what you need to do. You need to retreat, and you need to buy your team time to hold the adversary push, to give the rest of your team the chance of advancing and of winning the other respective flank. So with our retreat and with setting up a wonderful hull down position, we managed to take 2,600 damage, 3.1k combined, and now we might be able to take out this tank. Excellent. So 2.8k damage, and now our team is on the winning side. And now, as we have killed most of the other tanks, we are now able to advance, and maybe we can get a little bit more damage. But I think this game was a perfect example of when to retreat and when to see the right, or when to discover the right time for a retreat in order to set yourself up for some defensive gameplay, and in order to basically help your team to defend a flank. So can we get another shot onto this tank? I want to load HE. And I missed this shot with very poor aiming. That's how it goes. So let's now use HE again, and here you go, we can kill the leopard. And so all in all, we made 3.2k damage, 3.7k, or it's more likely 3.8k combined. Excellent. And yeah, let's simply jump into the next game. So next game, we are spawning on Berlin once again with the KPZ-50T, and let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Berlin with the KPZ-50T, you have several options. You can go here and try to play hull down alongside with your heavy tanks. You can also go to the middle, to this position right here, and try to help to win the middle. and get cross shots onto tanks which are advancing right here. But you can also go down to this portion of the map and then man this hull down position right here in order to win this portion of the map, and that is extremely, or that can be extremely successful if you are playing a tank which has good hull down capabilities, and that's basically what the KPZ-50T is all about. So this time I wanted to go to the south and try to use my hull down capabilities in order to win this flank. So let's see how it goes. We are once again in a top tier situation, so that means that we can play relatively aggressively with the KPZ-50T, as this tank does not have a superior firepower compared to the low tier tanks, but also we have a very strong armor on this tank. We are spotted from the middle, which is fine, and now we simply want to man this hull down position right here and peek out, bounce shots with our turret, and then try to punish adversary tanks. So let's see how it goes. We go. Nice first shot onto the tier 8 Italian medium tank, the P44 Pantera. So let's see. We do not want to peek out too much. Here you go. Okay, this tank has fallen back. There's a Progetto. There's a KPZ-50T, and will he peek out? Now, of course, one thing with the KPZ-50T is you have to keep in mind that if adversary tanks load premium ammunition and have beyond 300 millimeters of, or let's say 270 to 80 millimeters of pen, then they can penetrate some portion of your turret next to the gun. So that's what you have to keep in mind. Let's see how it goes. Those tanks are bouncing, which is nice. That's what I want to see. However, take a look at the minimap and notice how many opponents we have on this flank. So that's something that we need to look out for. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks, so far everything is fine, but we have to take a look at what is happening, and depending on how the situation develops, we need to retreat, but so far everything is fine. KPZ-50T is peeking out. Yep, that's what I want. I want to hit his weak spot. However, it's very tough to actually hit, and so that's how it is. Okay, looks like, yeah, he's now obviously in a very strong hull down situation. Basically both of those KPZ-50T, and so there's nothing we can do right now. So let's see how it goes. So far everything is nice. This Chaff Future 4 player has chosen to take an even more aggressive position. We'll see how it goes. I'm happy with bouncing all those shots. No, actually I do not bounce this shot, and now those tanks are making pressure. And here's one important thing to notice, and that is the Moistion, the heavy tank on this flank. Now let's pause here and let's take a look at the minimap. So this is the current situation. Our team has managed to win the north, which is great, and we find ourselves in a disadvantageous situation right here in the south. Not only does the adversary team have an advantage when it comes to the number of the tanks, but then also we see this heavy tank right here leading an advance to this direction. So this is where the problem starts, because sooner or later all those medium tanks will use the push of this heavy tank in order to also advance, and so chances are that they will be able to basically take us out, because once again we are in a disadvantageous situation. So that is the time where we need to relocate in order to hold the flank with manning a defensive position. So the adversary team is making extreme pressure, and that is basically the time where we need to retreat. Maybe we can take one more shot onto those tanks. Let me see. He is taken out. Let's see, one tank onto one shot onto the Moisian, and now we need to fall back because those tanks are making pressure and they are now running over our position. They are trying to take out the Char Future 4, and they have basically chosen to advance on our flank. Now, meanwhile, our team has managed to win the north, which is great. So once again, it's now the right time to retreat and to set up a strong position with our tank. Once again, with the KPZ-50T, this needs to be a position where we can exploit the strength of our tank, which is in this case hull down gameplay. So that's what we want to do. And now, as we took the decision that we cannot remain in our position and fight from there on, we want to retreat and buy our team time in order to win the game. And so let's go to this hull down position. And now the adversary team, yes, they have advanced, but they are now in the same situation as before. They have a significant gap between themselves and between us, and so they cannot simply rush us because they would lose way too much HP, and that's what you want to do. If you find yourself in a defensive situation, you want to always have enough range between the adversary tanks and between your tanks, so that the adversary team is unable to rush you and simply, you know, take you out and take your teammates out. And one word of caution is you always have to consider the speed and the mobility of the adversary tank. So for example, if the other team has, let's say, two DZT-159s with those rocket motor abilities, then of course you have to even further increase the range, because they can make use of their rocket motors and basically advance on a very long range in a very short period of time. Alright, so with retreating, we made sure that the adversary advance came to a standstill. We could hold our flank, and in the end, once again, we could basically get a decent result with 2.8k damage and 680 assisting damage. Third and last game, once again in the KPZ-50T. This time we spawn on Fisherman's Bay, so let's first of all take a look at the map and see what options we have. Spawning on Fisherman's Bay in the north with the KPZ-50T, you have several options. My preferred one is to go to the middle and man this position. Not only do I think that this position in the middle is very important for map control, you have also several options, so this position is very flexible. You can get crossfire to the heavy tanks proceeding to the heavy lane. You can also maybe outspot and shoot onto those tanks here. You can also get crossfire from here to those tanks right here when they get spotted. So in my opinion, not only is this position very important, it is also very flexible. Alright, so that's where we want to play, and let's see how it goes. We are once again, thank you. We are once again in a top tier situation. This is the benefit of tier 9, which is great. And so let's see how the game develops. Little spoiler right here. Of course, there will be once again a point in time in which we have to relocate. But more to this later on in the game. So the first thing we want to do is we want to once again man this position. And then, yeah, spot those heavy tanks. And I want to aim in so to hit the next tanks. Maybe we can get a shot onto the T-44. Nice. First 315 damage. Let's see. Can I take another shot onto this tank? Maybe if he crosses. There you go. Nice. And another shot onto this poor T-44. Of course, he made a huge mistake driving through the open field. Yeah, get tracked, so I need to reverse and fall back. Let me see, can I get another shot? There you go, nice, and we can take this tank out. Excellent, so very decent start in the game. So let's see whether we can take a shot onto this tank right here, maybe. Yep, nice, thank you. Mr. Leopard PTA, nice. And of course I get spotted, so I have to wait 10 seconds until I'm not spotted anymore. Of course 10 seconds is only an approximate number and depends on the opponent's crew and his yeah, basically his skills. So let's see, maybe he moves out of cover once again. So far everything is fine. We already made 1200 damage and looks like our team has no problems on either flank. Looks like those two Type 63s are advancing on the one lane. So once again, we want to lobster eye the minimap and continue to monitor the one lane. So let's see what happens there. Meanwhile, we can get... no, actually, we cannot get a shot onto this tank. Bad aiming by my side. Looks like our team has won the heavy lane in the east, which is great. So down in the city. Looks like we're on a losing side. Okay, this tank has already been killed. And now take a look at the minimap and notice how the enemy team is making pressure. So once again, we want to lobster eye this, and let's now, now take a look at the minimap and notice what is going on the one lane. So this is the current situation, and as soon as those two tanks have managed to take out our two medium tanks right here, map control will be approximately, like this. And so out of this position, those enemy tanks will have the chance of taking our position under fire, and there are no good bushes, there's no decent cover that we can use in order to defend against crossfire from this position. Plus we can still get shot from this side, so chances are that we cannot maintain this position and maintain our HP. So in order to defend this situation right here, we need to fall back into a much better position so that we can basically stop this advance and defend the remaining map control that we now have. So we definitely do need to retreat simply because we are losing map control, and from this position right here in the middle, there's no chance that we can basically stand or maintain a safe position while defending against the attack in the north. So instead we want to relocate to a very strong defensive position, and this is right here next to the building because there are two bushes, plus we can fall back yeah, we can fall back into cover. So let's fully aim in and let's take out this tank. Excellent. And so let me see. So our Uda 16 managed to stay alive, which is great, but there should be another tank, right? So let's see how it goes. ELC even 90 is also proceeding to this side in order to spot, which is good. And maybe he can spot the remaining tanks on the 1 and 2 lane. So let's see. Looks like UDAS 14.5 is making pressure. Our UDAS 16 got taken out. And so, you know what? Let's see. Maybe we can take a shot onto the UDAS 14.5. The problem is the little field elevation over there. But maybe one shot into the middle. No. Guard is behind cover. So let's see. Here you go. Maybe one shot onto Patton the tank. Here you go. Nice. Yeah, alright. So ELC even 90 is spotting if the UDAS 14.5 would advance. But I think it's also time to help our team in the south. So the 7032 down in the south will not be able to cross the open field. So sooner or later, I think we need to help them out. Meanwhile, we can take a shot onto the UDAS 14.5. We bounce this shot. And the question is now, what do we do? Do we, first of all, try to clear the north, or do we proceed to the south? That's the question. And here's another Type 63. Excellent. So maybe we can take a shot onto this tank. But of course, those tanks now know that they will get spotted instantaneously once they move out of cover. So chances are that they will not advance any further. So the game is now relatively close. Yep, 703 is pinging for help. They want the ELC even 90 to proceed to the south in order to spot for them, which is actually not the worst idea. So, yep, can you go spot? Yep, that is understandable. And I think as those tanks will not move out of cover anymore, the question is, should we go to the south? ELC even 90 is now leaving his position, which is understandable. And I think we should try to help those teammates in the south, because being the only tank left on a particular side is never a good idea if you have to fight against multiple tanks. So let's first of all proceed to the other side of the map. We are in a very fast tank, so moving the flank is not a problem whatsoever. And then we can try to clear this flank, or at least fight against some opponents. And then we'll see what is going on in the north. So I want to proceed to the middle. So because the ELC even 90 will spot, and then I simply want to put myself into a very central position out of which I can take multiple tanks under fire. So let's see how it goes. Of course, I need to play cautiously. Here you go. There's, okay, nice. There's a tank. Let's fully aim in our shot and we can take him out. Excellent. All right. Of course, we're spotted. Okay, there's a tank. Nice. He bounces his shot. So he's just shot. So we can take one shot in return. Nice. And now we need to fall back into cover. Badchat is now spotted. And the ELC even 90 is actually doing a great job of proceeding back so that the Type 63 and the US 1405 do not have a chance of advancing without getting spotted. Excellent. So let's see how it goes. Badchat could be in this position, so let's blind fire this this position. Now US 1405 is advancing, so let's try to take a shot onto him. Let's fully aim in. Here you go. Okay, this was very poorly aimed, but you know what? I can simply proceed towards this tank. I still have full HP. I have quite some armor, and so I will, of course, be able to take him out. So let's simply push out the US 1405. Not 1405, but 14.5. He has no armor whatsoever. The armor starts at tier 9. So we do not even have to load heat ammunition. Let's simply try to... There you go. Okay, we bounced the shot. Very unfortunate. But that's not a problem at all. Even if he takes a shot, this is not a problem whatsoever. He doesn't look towards us, so we can even remain our HP. And now... let's see whether we can push out the Type 63. After all, we are now in the northern portion of the map. And let's see. So far, 2.5k damage, 800 assisting damage. So a decent result right now. One object 7032 has been taken out. Hopefully the other one is maintaining a defensive position. And then for the time, we want to take out the Type 63. So see how it goes. ELC even 90 is advancing. Nice. He is spotting this tank. Let's try to fully aim in. There's actually also the Lorraine 40T. Okay, but those tanks are now one-shottable. Nice. For Lorraine 40T is taken out. And so now I think it is our time to simply push the Type 63. So in my opinion, this game has yet been another decent example of how to monitor, how to constantly monitor the minimap and how to see situations developing so that you can judge the right time for retreating, for changing your position. Nice. SHPTK only deals 91 damage because he's shooting HE. And let's see, now looks like the game is won, but we want to continue to play smart in order to not do mistakes and get more damage. So let's see, 5 kills so far, so a very decent game if you ask me. Let's see, do we spot any tank? No, so let's simply advance. After all, we are still almost full HP because we could preserve our HP throughout the game. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, overall, in my opinion, having minimap awareness is of course what you need to have if you want to become an above average player and if you want to have decent results in World of Tanks. And if you can manage to monitor the minimap, then you will see those situations developing, and then obviously that is beneficial for your gameplay because this gives you the time that you need to judge the situation and then to still have enough time to basically retreat. Now I'm losing all my HP right here. I even get taken out, but you know what, our team is winning the game, which is fine. We made 3.2k damage and 1.2k assisting damage, so a decent result in the KPZ 50T. And I think once again, as I said, a decent example of when to retreat at the right time in order to get more damage and even help your team to win the game. Alright guys, that was it for today with the video about when time has come to retreat. What do you think about this topic? Do you think you have enough minimap awareness in World of Tanks? Do you manage to retreat early enough? Just leave a comment in the comment section down below. And as always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. This really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. If you find this video extremely helpful, then feel free to support me via Super Thanks. This way you can make a one-time donation. You just have to click this button underneath the video. If you adore this channel and you want to consistently support me, then consider subscribing to my channel or become a member, once again with the click of a button underneath the video. Thanks a lot, and I see you next time in another World of Tanks video.